Live, and we're live. Oh wow. So that's it's always so funny because it sounds like I start every Facebook live show with a sense of shock and oh wow, we're live. Like I'm so surprised. It must seem strange that folks are like, "Well, yeah, of course you're live. You're doing a live broadcast on Facebook." But it's usually the third or fourth time that we attempt to go live that we actually get live. So we're live now on Facebook on the secondary account. We were not allowed to, for some reason, go live on the primary account. It's not unusual, so I don't want to act like it is. But we've got this live broadcast going. We're live on Blog Talk Radio, and we're live on Facebook Live. And you could be watching us on any number of different video downloading or uploading platforms. And you see what the reason for the show is. So if you missed the beginning part, go back to the beginning because we're not going to answer anything. And I'm just going to, tonight is the first part. It's basically one of those things where it kind of goes without saying, but from now on, I'm just letting you know. And if you don't know, then you shouldn't be calling me. If you call me, your phone number is going to be public. I just got a phone call from somebody a couple hours ago and then called them back. And, they just act so sketchy. So your phone number is going to be public. And if you don't know that, there's really no reasons to contact me. That all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people. It lies with the people. It's not only vested in the people, it lies with the people. It lies within the people. And, that's what we're talking about. We don't talk about anything other than the law. And the law is so obvious and prima facie that it's so clear on its face that there's no disputing it, that any sort of governing institution that's not built around these particular ideas is absurd, and it makes absolutely no sense. And that in fact, in order to take our freedoms away, our adversary, which is the organized crime syndicate, the synagogue of Satan, masquerading as it's not even a good masquerade. It's not even a good imitation. It's the opposite. So the governing body is doing what the opposite of what the law is. So that's where we stand. So let's get into where we stand. That all power is consequently is vested in, lies within. It's more than just vested in. It lies within, and consequently it derived from the people. We, the people, grateful to Almighty God for our natural freedom, a declaration of rights made by the representatives of the good people. So representatives, allegedly an imitation, but not a good imitation. It's doing the opposite of representing the people. That's what the government is doing now. Assembled in full free convention, which rights do pertain to them and their posterity. That's us, because they say, well, you didn't write that document. That's true. I didn't. But it applies. I'm a party to it as the basis and free convention, as the basis of foundation of government. So this is the foundation of the government. We have natural freedom, and all men are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights, of which when they enter into a state of society they cannot by any compact deprive or divest their posterity. You can't take these rights away, namely pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety, possessing property, and the means of acquiring property. I'm sorry, I'm not reading it properly, but you see what it says? With the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness. So they go together. They know that this system, you got to be able to possess, acquire and possess property. And what does that mean? Doesn't mean money. It doesn't mean a house. It means
we're getting some weird interference with Facebook. Well, not weird, but I was sharing the show on the primary account, or attempting to, and besides the usual, you've been blocked from sharing until March 13th, 2020. I got a picture of that. I'll share it later. There is now this new prompt that I've never seen before that says your account is temporarily locked. Your account is temporarily locked. We've detected suspicious activity on your Facebook account. They've temporarily locked it as security precaution. It's likely that your account was compromised as a result of entering your password on a website designed to look like Facebook. We know this is absurd.
right.
This type of attack is known as phishing. Learn more at the Help Center. Over the next few steps, we will walk you through security checks to help.
Yeah, they do this all the time, so I'm gonna have to. Yeah. I know, Cliff. I've seen that one a bunch of times. That's usually afterwards when I try to log back in, that I get that exact thing. So yeah.
Listen, guys, I tried to log into your account as well, Chris. I was just about to do what Clifford is going to do.
Okay.
Like I
Well,
usually do through my phone.
right.
He's giving me the same thing. So,
Okay, well that's probably what it is. It's probably two people trying to log in at once, or three people, because I was trying to broadcast from that site as well.
all right, well, let's just.
All right.
Just continue
All
now.
right.
I'm going to share it.
Okay. All right. So I will, continue on, and I'll mess with my other account later when we get to it. So, all right. So this is the law. It's very controversial now. It is the opposite of what the governing body does, and it is under attack constantly. And this is the title and description of our show. That all men are by nature free and independent and have certain inherent rights. This is where we left off. Of which, when they enter into a state of society, they cannot, by any compact, deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty with the means of acquiring, possessing property, and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. So we've lost that completely, but that's the basis of the government. So the government is already abolished when its basis ceases to be. That all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people. So it's not just vested in, it's consequently, as a result of being vested in, it derives from the people. That, semicolon, that magistrates are their trustees and servants, and at all times amenable to them. So, magistrates, that means not the people. That means government officials. That means the few government officials not qualified to be a part of the militia. And I'm referencing the Patrick Henry quote. I asked, sir, what is the militia? Is the entire body of the people except a few government officials. That government or ought to be, so if it's not, it ought to be instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the people, nation, or community of all the various modes and forms of government that is best, which is capable of producing the greatest degree of happiness and safety, and is most effectually secured against the danger of maladministration. We can get into that for sure. And that when any government shall be found inadequate or contrary to these purposes, a majority of the community hath the indubitable, inalienable, and indefeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it in such manner as shall be judged most conducive to the public weal. That the inhabitants are entitled to the common law of England. That a well-regulated militia, and I'm combining all the legitimate laws of the United States and the law of the land prior to the formation of the District of Columbia. That a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people, trained to arms, is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state. That standing armies in time of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. The civil power, where does that lie? It's vested in and derived from the people. We, as the ordainers, from which all legitimate power lies, stand by the law of God. Do et mon droit. So there we have it. There it is. I will turn the camera around, and you can make fun of my appearance in whatever way you'd like. But I wish to get that out of the way because that's all that matters. Nothing else that matters, is of any consequence at all. Not if you think my face looks funny, or if you notice that I'm going bald on the side and on the top. I'm aware, so it doesn't need to be pointed out. And really, if somebody else was for years and years sticking by and standing by something so obvious as just reading the law and making analysis from that point of stating that I'm a strict constructionist and that I am an ultra conservative when it comes to the criminal current government, the current illegitimate government, and that I'm an extreme liberal when it comes to opposing the conservative ideals of what allegedly the government is doing now, which is, I would say, conservative Satanism, or the opposite. It might be liberal Satanism. So the conservatives and the liberals, if somebody to me says, unless they have explained this 100% to me and that they're on board with everything that we say, if they say, Chris, I'm a conservative, that means, oh, you're a conservative Satanist. Okay. Chris, I'm a liberal, and I care. You care about being a liberal Satanist. There you have it. Those are the two. When somebody tells you they're a conservative or a liberal, that's what they mean. It means that they are a laid-back Satanist or an uptight Satanist. That's what they mean when they say that they're conservatives or liberals. So there you go. Yeah, we got this call-in number. Oh yeah. Let me take care of first business first. Ever since excuse me, we're back here. My bad. Ever since the kind of gun grab psyop here in Virginia, and I'll call it that, because this is, whether it's real or whether it's not, it's a psychological operation on both sides. It's controlled by government agents, like celebrities, even celebrities bigger than myself. I could never get interviewed by Sacha Baron Cohen, Philip Van Cleve of the so-called Virginia Citizens Defense League. So celebrities, not like myself. Like I'm not near as famous as these guys. Although probably I may have been viewed on international television more than Philip Van Cleve, but in any event, they're control. This guy, and Philip Van Cleve is a cop and a paid lobbyist, a high paid lobbyist, as you can guess, with these heavy duty lobbying operations. There's a lot of money involved, and of course, the governor and compromised politicians like Donald McKeechin. They had all this cooked up, contrived nonsense for a long time, that they were gonna do this gun grab psyop. But I get a lot of phone calls, and I'll explain this one. I got a call from 1304. What is that? 2459. I'm gonna double check that. I'll put it definitely in the comment section. Basically, this guy just doesn't state his name, sounds like a fake voice, and I'm like, hey, I guess you're calling about.
My bad. I really didn't know that you were on the line. I thought I got like an answering machine. This is Crystal Hall.
Okay. So we got more of this stuff coming around. The number is 130. This number 1-304-240-2459, and the guy starts asking about my address, and he says like, well, what's the address of the Virginia Militia? And if anybody's operating, can you put this 440 number on hold? Anyway. Getting lots of calls tonight. I said, no, that's the Richmond Federal Reserve Bank. That's, everybody knows this. Oh, I guess I shouldn't send a letter to the bank then. I'm like, yeah, no, you shouldn't send a letter, and like, we don't have anything to do with you, and all we do is put, talk about the law. It's not a group. And this guy says, oh, I used to be in the Missouri 51st. And I said, oh yeah, I know whenever I'm talking to someone, they're probably some sort of snitch, FBI agent, whatever. Yeah, I know, I was in the 51st Missouri Militia. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And then Amanda starts calling through, and I'm trying to get off the phone so we can figure out, like, what we're going to have for, dinner, or, take care of normal stuff. What do I need from the store? Like, just something I'm more interested in doing than talking to some snitch on the freaking radio. Not on the radio, on the telephone. But anyway, he was the inspiration for tonight's show, so I dedicate this show to all the FBI snitches and crazy agent provocateurs that call in the show and, waste my time on a daily basis. But I can tell you, nobody legitimate is calling. My number is public. So my number is public. So this is an absolute experiment on how pathetic the American population is, because I get 0% of the people that contact me through the telephone, 0% are legitimate and not government snitches and so forth and so on. But hey, caller, call back. I mean, this guy keeps calling in and hanging up and calling in. I think that they're trying to, I think their tactic is that they want to just like start talking crazy without anybody realizing that they're on the phone. But anyway, yeah, that's this guy's number. He didn't say what his name was. He said he was calling from Martinsburg, and I said, "Oh, Martinsburg. I was born in Hagerstown. All my families are from there." "Well, yeah, I'm from Texas, but I just moved here in 2011. So, I don't know. What does he work at the FBI? Like installation in Martinsburg? Is that what he's telling me? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and the 51st Chris, the 51st Missouri Militia, they're the ones featured in a documentary from 2001. I've seen it on Amazon Prime, but anyway.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that.
You know, we have a shortage of law enforcement in this area. You know, we're not all about guns. You know, the local governments may need us to assist in a disaster. So I mean, this is in 2000, the year they're talking about this, and now look at them. All these disasters all over the country, and people saying, I mean, people.
Hold on, David. Hold on. So this is what I was thinking, because like I don't know about like all this stuff. Like I pay attention to important things. So when somebody's like, oh well, this militia and that militia, or Adam Watt, I'm like, what's that? I don't really know what all these things are, like, but I know that they're government shill operations. And so, like, that's the way all this goes, and this is what is the reason for this show. We don't have anything to do with it. If it's legitimate, then we are over top of it, because it, that's the way it goes. We're not going to, we're not going to fall for an imposter or a representation of anything, because that's unlawful. So, like, I don't know what, God bless it, this freaking thing. This God blessed thing. Of course, the house is messier than it's been in days because of all the freaking Christmas boxes around. God bless America. This is so annoying. Oh my gosh, that is so freaking annoying. So, hey, the volume is fine. Don't start. Don't start in any sort of way. If there's problems with the volume, listen. If there's problems with the volume, go to Blog Talk Radio and the Militia Intelligence Report. Yeah, I got that. I got it. The problem wasn't me figuring out to press the button that switches it back. The problem was that it switched without me pressing the button, and then it was frozen on. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Like, really, this is what matters. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's so pathetic. Like, I didn't know what the 51st Missouri Militia was, but I was smart enough to figure out it must be something. It must be something that's some sort of part of some sort of psychological operation to distract people. It possibly has something to do with Lavoy Finicum. It possibly has something to do with, conservative Satanists. I mean, this stuff is just it's too much. It's too much. It's all in the law. It's all there. And if folks can't figure that out, or if they've got all the time to be smart enough to be able to find an individual as obscure as myself, but so stupid not to know the basis of all the law and just common core rationality, at the core rationality and logic, like, hey, this is what the law says. Oh, and the actual government is doing the opposite of that. Oh, they've got other plans too? And their plans are written down? And they have the ability to carry out their plans? And they're actually doing it? Oh my gosh! Where do we stand? Oh, come and take my gun. The next guy that... If I had a nickel for... That's the talking point of almost all these guys that are contacting me. and I'll put their names and pictures out there. I've got screenshots. Adam Yonk, this JC who calls himself Jake, who works for Southside Regional Medical Center. They all have this to say and that to say, but they won't. You just go like, hey man, whatever it is, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't have an arsenal. I don't have anything like that. But this is what the law says, so I'll kind of stand with the law. That's where I'll stand. What else is there to do? Well, there's a gathering. There's a gathering on January the 20th, 2020. 1/2020. And it's the beginning of the next American Civil War, because they're going to cut the internet and the power. I mean, they might do that, but what are they going to cut the internet and the power to freaking Richmond? Are they going to cut? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, but at that point, what's anybody going to do about it? It's already too late. You haven't organized. The prize is the underground military bases, because these guys know how to go to ground. They're all over Richmond, which is where this thing is taking place. They got bunkers in the state capitol. They got all sorts of mazes and underground tunnels in the Senate building. I've been in them. I've been there. I've seen them. I've heard drunken former governors, tell a large audience of individuals, hey, can you mute this 505 caller, and then we'll get to him in just a second. Actually, let's get to him now, because I'm in the mood for this kind of nonsense.
Hello.
Yeah, hey Joker. Hey, yeah.
You never went anywhere. Oh, look at me.
505 900 0653. All right. So, I mean, what was the purpose of that guy? I mean, if anybody wants to call this guy, call him up. He sounds like he's lonely. And he sounds like he's an entertaining character. So his number's out there. What do you want? Just people to call? Is this some sort of hotline hub for folks who have too much time on their hand and they want their telephone number to be public? I can tell you, if you make your telephone number public, it's a mistake, and I am judging that from firsthand experience. What's if there's 1,000 people that contact you, 999. No, maybe not. Maybe 995 will be illegitimate and malicious. So
Right.
there you have it.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, back to the most important thing, where you were talking about those, as we always do, those underground military.
Right, the underground. Yeah, that's what's going on here in Virginia about the gun grab, because that's the only thing that's right. Right. I mean,
Real quick, because this is important.
yeah. Go ahead, David.
I'll never forget when you told me how you told me you accidentally came across those underground bases by taking a wrong turn. I thought that was
No, not the underground bases. No, not the underground bases. The underground tunnels, and particularly what I was talking about is the underground tram and metro that's underneath the U.S. Capitol. So no, I never came across any bases by taking a wrong turn, but no, there definitely are, I presume, transportation to underground bases. There's underground transportation that I accidentally came across under the Capitol, but that was a secret to me at least. But now I hear people talking about as if it's an open secret on television now. So I've heard quote unquote cable news folks talking about the same thing. So no, I never have been to any underground bases, but I have gotten lost under the United States Capitol and by accident stumbled across a elaborate underground transportation system. I guess that would have been in 2008.
Sinkholes in your area, like we've been hearing about all over the country. Chances are one probably runs through that area. Now, in Louisiana, they blamed them on collapsed salt domes, but I remember hearing on television exactly what you said, because they're somewhat not a secret anymore. They're like those. I mean, they're becoming prevalent in Japan and China now.
What, the underground tram systems, like from places that aren't available to the public?
They call them mag trains.
Yeah.
The ones. Yeah. That. Yeah,
Well.
exactly
These things are extremely high speed. They're as fast as flying, allegedly in some cases. So, yeah, that's what's going on in Virginia here, because this is where the confluence of gun freedom, the militia law of the English common law based republicanism, sovereignty of all people, is explicit. This is the birthplace of it. And this is where all the underground military bases is. And this is where the enemy's military headquarters are. And that's the Pentagon. And if you don't think the Pentagon is working with every military around the world at the exclusion of working with the American people, you need to go back to step one. You need to go get a heavy dose of economics and geopolitics 101, the simulation of and subversion of the government of, by, and for the people. So that's what's going on here in Virginia. They have their headquarters here, and if there were ever to be any sort of legitimate checking of an out-of-control tyrannical government, it would have to happen here in Virginia. And so basically we stated to you years ago that when somebody is protesting without guns, then it's over. It's like a child throwing a fit. It's gonna have no consequence. Well, I mean, hey, it might have some consequences, but it's not from any sort of position of authority or power. Look at what's going on in Hong Kong. Look, we're gonna start talking about how this Chinese communist government, apparatus is dependent on the United States of America, and that they work hand in glove. All these countries work hand in glove. And so, when you see UN vehicles, it's too late. You might as well see FEMA vehicles and DHS. They got the plan. The plan is in existence. Where they're going with these plans, we've pointed out to you. Cutting the power in the internet, like they did in California. What was going on? Well, the largest Marine deployment in the past decade in the United States was going on right when all this chaos was happening. At this exact same time, all this chaos was happening in California. So, this Virginia thing, it's like once you're disarmed, it's over. It's done. It's game over. There is nothing to stop the enemy from what they are overtly doing and covertly planning, or overtly planning. I mean, it's like you got to be a dum-dum not to come up, not to just do exactly what we're doing. This is the, if one likes to look at things through like an AI simulation, this will show what I believe to be the rationality of people. Like the people of Virginia are angry. We are extremely angry. However, the leadership of the masses of the angry people are leading them in the wrong direction. There's only one way to stand on this. And I'll tell you another thing, as we told you last week, the government's already abolished. We don't have to do anything. It's abolished. When it ceases to carry out the basis of why it exists, it just doesn't exist anymore. Something else exists. And folks use fake names all the time, so this entity can call it whatever it wants to, but it is not what it's intended, because for some reason that law is still around and I can just click some symbols and codes onto an electronic keyboard and be able to read and decode in language that everyone can comprehend and certain individuals also understand. So this is what the law says. It's not anything else but that. We're not standing on anything else but that. We're not advocating anything else but that. So we can get into, and we never once have strayed in any way from what the law is, because I'm not Chinese. I'm not going to follow some Chinese law. I respect the Chinese culture. Same with Japan. But I'm not going to follow their laws, and they're not going to have more authority on the earth than me, because it's not ordained that way. And so, saying that, I'll also say, hey, I'm not Khazarian. I'm not descended from a certain ethnic group in the Caucasus Mountains that my ancestors went to war with and conquered. I don't abide by their rules. I don't operate like them, because that's not what the purpose of this country was. The purpose of this country, and then the law that is the supreme law of the land. It's the English common law. So it comes from what point? The royal family, the nobility, the dukes and duchesses, the earls, the barons, the squires, and above all, the kings of England. Hey, but I don't want to give short shrift to the kings of Germany, or also known as, in certain times, also known as the Holy Roman Emperors, or the princes of Wales, and I'm not talking about the imposter Tudor, I shouldn't even call the Tudors imposters, like the Windsors are imposters. The imposter, so-called Windsors, Prince of Wales. I'm talking about, the descendants of Llewellyn the Great and his ilk, his pedigree. So we have certain things that even the king can't take away, and that's the inherent rights. But the king and his descendants which are we the people, those who have a claim to the crown of England. That's what that means. I don't know how many times I have to repeat that over and over again. But again, when you apply the laws, what the government is attempting to do, it doesn't matter who's the highest point of the English common law. It's all forbidden and prohibited by in the honorable system. And see, so that's the only thing that really matters, and that's why you never hear about this when in modern society, because the only thing that hey, everybody can do whatever they want, and then basically the worst thing that somebody can do is act in dishonor. That's the worst crime of anything, because then the whole system breaks down if everybody's acting in dishonor. That's why I think it's an absolute joke at these like military academies that they have the honor system or the honor court. Give me a break. The whole system is based on dishonor. The entire freaking system is based on dishonor, and that's how we get the inversion. The inversion of this system. Yeah, so where do you want to go? Because that's what's going on here in Virginia. It's a fight for these underground bases. The government is here, the federal buildings. We can now lawfully surround any federal building we want with armed militia, with armed men and women. I've done it before. So I've already done it and nothing came of it as far as anything else. But hey, the government just keeps abolishing itself. So maybe is this what means that God is abolishing the government? So when the people fail to abolish the government, God abolishes the government, and the measuring stick and yardstick is what words mean and the essence of communication and the meaning of words as a means to communicate the most important things to God's living creation, man, who's given dominion on this earth. So it's like the most important thing. So at the risk of being boring, we will make ourselves clear. Yeah, go ahead.
Once again, it's just day in, day out. It's a very Pinky in the Brain-esque type routine. I wish I could find a better word, but I could get into some of the numerology of the January 2020 PSYOP in Richmond, Virginia, and some synchronicities there, but that's also the presidential inauguration date, the 20th. And so that's to sync it up with this being a pro-Trump PSYOP. So once again, if it's falling for this, you're just making a waste of your God-given intelligence.
Well, I'm not going to discourage people from going there, because at the end of the day, I'm going to stand behind rationality and logic in that we've communicated this information to many, many, many people, and I keep looking for other alternatives other than at this point going with what I'm, with my first thought being correct on everything that they're doing, because it's not something that's hidden. It's not something that is that they're attempting to disguise. However, I'm hoping that it's going to be empowering to the body of the people and to the nation as a whole to see what they're really afraid of and where it's happening the capital of Virginia, where the eastern, where the nuclear subs and nuclear warships, the Eastern Fleet of the United States Navy is. I mean, the clandestine operations of the Defense Department, countless underground military bases, and the Pentagon. We could surround the Pentagon lawfully at this point. Lawfully surround the Pentagon with armed individuals. And it's been a long time coming. I remember Starbucks in Northern Virginia being, 25 years ago, being the first to start, and maybe it was 20 years ago, being the first to start bucking the trend of open carry. I can tell you, Virginia's an open carry state, and hardly anybody takes advantage of it. But now that it's under threat, more and more people are caring about it and seeing what it means as being part of the big picture. That you can't separate this from the Agenda 20 operation, or the Agenda 2030 plan, or the idea of these FEMA camps and death camps, and the massive loads of every the IRS workers getting millions of rounds of hollow point bullets. I mean, what's the purpose of it? Why they have it? It's not for no purpose. It's for a purpose. So that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe this would be a good time to talk about integrity, like I wanted to bring up, if that's fine.
Yeah, just real quick, I do wish to address what Teresa Peterson just wrote. Supply and demand, NRA is corrupt. Yeah, because I really would like to get into how corrupt these gun lobbies are, and how they're working with other governments, and how just watching over not what's in the so-called alternative media, but just getting back into what we were telling you about 3 years ago, about the specifics of Donald Trump and his ties to organized crime, and particularly the Jewish organized crime. But yeah, integrity. Yeah, it's key. It's key, and yeah, David wants to talk about that.
Yeah, what I really wanted to bring up was the fact that what makes the I like to call it the Royal American Militia movement drastically different from any feds. But first of all, everything we do is public. Now that goes hand in hand with saying when the masses think of militias, they think of guys with guns and camouflage. Now, when we do official militia work, not only we don't wear camouflage because we don't want to look like Defense Department goons and criminal army men, but it's that very fact that we don't hide, and our greatest weapons are the knowledge of the law, the Constitution for the United States, and of course, most of all, the knowledge of John Locke, which is basically the knowledge of the King James Bible. That's our most. Maybe this ain't the correct way to say it, but the King James Bible is our most deadly weapon. And of course, right now, guns for us are just a prop. They're there to obtain the most deadly weapons of war. See, we have no arsenals. You know, I'm just one man with a few sporting rifles to himself. Right now, for me, shooting is just a sport. Now again, our real weapons are the knowledge, and this show acts as a that's why we call it militia intelligence. This is an intelligence tool to reach the body of the people, not necessarily the masses. We want the body of the people because we specifically target the people of God, because we know that they're the only ones capable of bringing humanity closer to a very balanced state. Now that was pretty much all I had prepared, Chris.
That's good, David. I agree. Max is sorry. All right, we got Max up here with the broadcast now. So it's a little. It's always good to hear about integrity, and that's basically it. We just stand in front of the law, behind the law. We are the law incarnate, and that it's a good thing that's what the law says, because it's in our own best interest. It's a good thing the law doesn't say something else. It's a good thing that what they're doing now isn't written into law, but that of course the law is already abolished. And I just want to address some stuff, because I don't want to get in with this silliness. I mean, just go back and look at my work on masonry. I'm not I am not going to be caught in this Mason psyop. I'm not a member of a Masonic lodge. That's another thing that doesn't really exist anymore. Like, there are no legitimate Masons. They might be doing some sort of idea of what they think of anything, but it's really the only thing that matters are the occasional lodges. You can even call this an occasional lodge. It would be the supreme occasional lodge of Freemasonry, that if this is considered Masonry. And so, like, you can just look up and see what that means, and you can see where our claim lies, or I'm making the claim and I'm the only one that could make that claim, that this is just the supreme occasional lodge. So, okay, there you go. But we certainly don't Go ahead.
The first show back at the holiday season is the second day of Kwanzaa, which is supposed to be about self-determination, and that's like really what the enemy wishes to take from everyone, but they can never truly take it away, so they try as best they can. Because I mean, once again, self-determination. Like, you can say, I'm going to stand up in the most foolish way against these criminals and get myself killed. You determine that, and the enemy does prefer you to do that, but they wish as little resistance as possible, and they wish any resistance they wish to be as ineffective as possible as well. But the people have no sense of self. They can't determine anything for themselves. I shouldn't say the people, the masses of the planet, nowhere worse than America. Because we see people in Hong Kong. We see people are saying enough is enough because it's the only sensible thing to do. But
right, but it's too late for them. It's too late for them, Cliff. That's the problem. It's too late for the people in Paris, and it's too late for the people in Hong Kong, because they've already been disarmed. That's why there's so much seriousness about particularly Virginia, and not West Virginia, and not Michigan, and not any of the other places. They say, oh, the craziest gun laws, gun statutes or the most zany, radical, Khazarian mob, Michael Bloomberg created gun grab things in Virginia. So it goes from, you know, just a little bit of a gun grab in Virginia to like a massive gun grab in Virginia. So why Virginia? Because this is where the fight is going to be. This is where they have those underground military bases. This is where they have the concentration of FEMA camps. This is, the place where the southern attack zone to the District of Columbia would come if there was a series of large-scale pitched battles. It's strategic location. I'll just say this, so that all you who will be able to watch this and think of things that I'm not thinking of, for strategic purposes. It's all strategic. What are some of the reasons for the strategy? They're big enough for them to do anything. Because like I said, it's, when the people finally figure out all things, they'll surround the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond with guns. We've done that, but we didn't have like thousands and thousands of people with us to do that. Now that there are going to be thousands of folks, the gun lobbyists are going to get more money, and the gun companies are going to sell more guns. But don't ever think that you're going to form a militia and stand up to to 12th generation weapons with your freaking second generation weapons. But yeah, that's what this is all about. So I think it's the most interesting topic and subject. Hey guys, did you guys share this to the Constitutional Virginia Militia page?
I shared it to every group.
No. This would be on the primary account. Okay. Are we locked out of that?
We had no access to your primary account tonight.
It was already locked out. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is secondary. Okay, so I guess it's not up there. So can you put that up there on the Constitutional Virginia Militia page? This live broadcast, because
I'll find it for you.
Thanks. Because there's really no other topic other than why are they doing this here? Why is it? It's not because of the Democrats. It's not because of anything else. It is because of the strategic location of Virginia, and that they are going to make it illegal for any sort of action of the people that involves guns and involves demonstrating with guns. That is the basis of our work here, and that is what they are targeting first. And so what does demonstrating with guns mean? It just goes like, hey, we got these guns and this is how we feel politically. Because all other political speech can be ignored 100%. It can be 100% ignored. Demonstrating with deadly force, with a deadly weapon, that can't be ignored. And I can tell you, despite that, I can't ignore demonstrating of any kind. I can't ignore it because I am empathetic to anyone with any struggle. I am empathetic to their plight, so I can't ignore it. But we're talking about, again, the most important thing is these individuals that we're dealing with are liars. They are demons. Like, they don't... Whatever. You come up with an excuse for them. for their mass deception. What somebody coming up with fake names, lying about why they're doing something, going into some sort of communication with someone, knowing that everything that they're doing is a lie. That's if you act as if hey, right on cue. We got this guy who keeps calling in. So like these liars, and if they want to fool everybody, that's cool. That you can get me going. You're not going to fool me and think that you're somehow good. You might fool me as far as like I don't know your exact identity. Yeah, I mean, because it's impossible for me to know. But I will say that it's a sad state of affairs here in America, and I know this. The Virginia government has the criminal government, they've already attempted and failed. Attempted and succeeded, and then in the longer term failed with everything they're threatening to do with the entire population of Virginia. That everybody's, that happened to me years ago. It seems like another lifetime ago. That these gun grab tactics were used against me. So, not just by the Virginia government, but also by the federal government and the Department of Homeland Security. Personally, to me, they follow.
Hey, Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it sounds like if you can hear me, it sounds like you're very far away from the phone.
Okay, thanks.
Everything good?
Okay, thanks. Is it better now?
Oh, that's better.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, yeah, continue.
Yeah, well,
Much better.
hey, cool, yeah. You're right. I should have seen myself on the camera holding my phone too far away from me. But in any event, we're just covering the same things over and over again. It's in writing, and it's the most important thing. Why do we not get callers who expand and maybe even give better context to our information? Why don't we get that? A lot of folks seem to be very concerned about what's going on here in Virginia. We are putting out there, and it's written in a book. It's almost like that this was, the book that I wrote was some sort of prescient event to counteract the threats that the government of Virginia is putting out against the people. I mean, I really am talking to the only two people and I know lots of. I bought my car that I'm using all of the money I can possibly leverage just to keep it from being, taken away from me. I'm using all of the money I have to leverage just to have that, but I paid for that car with the royalties from my book. So that sounds impressive until one realizes that my car is a 1999 Ford Taurus. But it runs fine. It's okay. I'm just saying that it's really a thing. I wrote the book. I've never heard anybody say, "Hey, this book sucks. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you're talking about," et cetera, et cetera. It's out there. I mean, I'm someone who international news agencies asks their opinion about on complex, let me say the most complex banking and geopolitical issues. So I'm just wondering, what's the problem here? How is this information still being hidden from the public as far as how to act, how to act, how to proceed, how to move forward. And again, we'll have the find out for yourself what the title of the book is. I mean, so can somebody else start talking, please? Because I'm really at a loss, because I knew that as soon as I started talking about my book, that would be the first response in the comment section.
It's called the Militia Handbook. I mean, originally, there's the Militia Intelligence Handbook, the Militia Intelligence Report Handbook. Essentially, it's what we do here with the most essential stuff condensed and put into text. I mean,
right.
I guess I could go ahead. I mean, there's really, once again, not much left of any relevance to say. Like, if people want to, like, shoot the breeze or whatever, that seems to be what more people care about these days. I don't know. I mean, I just spend my time trying to build my bridge to God. For me, that involves certain esoteric investigation, studying spiritual sciences. I mean, I don't comprehend why. I have trouble grasping how people, or how the populace does not wish to proceed, because I think that's really the thing. I think it's a very much a deer in the headlights kind of look for the masses.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good segue. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. But my problem is hey, we all have that, but then we have to move forward, and that instead of folks coming up with these same conclusions, they don't seem to be able to do what's simple and start saying things like this. Well, hey, this quote unquote law that they're getting ready to pass, it doesn't seem right. Let me check to see if it is. It's like I was showing my aunt, my mom's sister, how to connect our ancestry to the kings and queens of Europe. And her response is like, is this? Well, tell me how you know that this is for real. How do you know this is correct? And it's like, well, hundreds and thousands of hours of research. How do you know? Like, I was meditating on Descartes, and how did Descartes do it? He proved that God existed by attempting to disprove the existence of everything. So you just take every sort of hypothesis and do every single thing that one can do to prove it wrong. One source is good, 2 sources is better, 5 sources is maybe the best you'll get. I mean, how does anybody do anything? This is another thing about a deer in the headlight, and how, hey folks, I mean we know that human beings can wake up every morning and go and work at a freaking slaughterhouse. We know that that's possible. You know, for me, I mean, there would have to be a long period. I would have to be a kind of a different mentality human being. But I think for the average individual, it takes a lifetime of being desensitized to be able to do that. I mean, especially when I, you know, couldn't stand showing up at my job as a now defunct, as a manager at a Books A Million. I couldn't stand it, so I just was like, man, I'm just not going to go. But we know that folks can do stuff so disgusting. Every day they can show up. Hey, 440-396-6964. We're going to take this call, and we're going to give them a very short leash, and we've already told you what their phone number is. So if they suck, call them up and ask them what the hell their problem is. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, just calling in to talk about some stuff.
Yeah, what? Why have you been?
Just the government.
Yeah, why have you been calling up? Hold on. Yeah, no. Like, how it goes is you identify yourself, and like, why did you keep calling and hanging up?
Oh, my name is Joe, and I'm from Ohio, and I just couldn't figure out the website, or if I had to get on Skype. So, when I would call in, it would just play the radio show, and I didn't know if it was live.
Yeah, you were live. Anyway, okay.
Like you're full of crap.
All right. Well, let's give Joe a chance. Like, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, okay. Something interesting is that the government spends $13 billion on an aircraft carrier. So just think about that.
Yeah, that is an interesting fact.
From taxpayers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. Chris, I'm sorry.
What? Hey. No, let's not. All right, Joe. Anything else? Hold on. Anything else, and then we'll analyze Joe's statements.
That's just one example of how insane their thieving is from the people.
Well, another insane thing is that these things exist. I mean, they can be monetarily weighed. They can be monetarily valued, but that 13 billion is a lot. But in fact, there are quadrillions of dollars that exist in the so-called money supply, so that something like that is not really, I don't think, the largest measuring stick. I think the largest measuring stick is that the government has these things that can, say one warship, that might have the ability to do a good job in leveling one city, and that the government is not concerned about that sort of lethal power, but that a handgun or a rifle in the hands of the people, which is a God-given right, is a problem. You see, I like that juxtaposition better than what you're saying. But hey, you got the ball rolling, and Joe, it doesn't matter again who you are, whether you're some sort of like legitimate, a member of the public, or whether you're a government agent. It's really that's been the basis of the show, that we don't really get anything other than government snitches and really no legitimate sincere individuals contact us. But no matter who you are, it doesn't matter, because that juxtaposition got put out there. And also that the idea that individuals here in Virginia with their conventional firearms are going to somehow be able to win in any sort of military strategy against the quote-unquote government, the de facto government, and the idea that individual guns mean anything to that, except for the idea that conventional weapons are still the things that protect the asymmetrical warfare, serious kind of military lethal weapons. So that's the key. The keys to take away. They wish to have lethality to take away your life, my life, and everyone else's life, but they do not wish to have us have the capability to neutralize the individuals that may carry that out. So here's the solution, and I make this claim because I don't really care about your rights to wield the lethal, deadly weapons of war, because I don't know or trust you. I'm saying that is my God-given right, and this is my claim. And the reason I'm saying this is because I'm putting all of this out publicly. So when you think you're choosing a president and you believe that one, and I'm saying you, the collective you, whoever believes this, believes that is your responsibility, that you're picking the individual to wield all this deadly force, number one, you're incorrect, and number two, you haven't thought, discussed, or even heard about the most important aspects of deferring your duty. In other words,
that's true, and I think you made a good point there. It's kind of like we're living in an inverted reality where they drive around in warships and they have aircraft carriers, but they're just telling the individual that they're not allowed to protect themselves when they have underground bases and operations going on all over the world with different intelligence agencies all interlinked. But some random guy isn't allowed to have a rifle. It's just crazy.
well, hey, that's real funny. That's real funny. You basically summed everything up in about 30 seconds. There's nothing else more important than that. That's the only point, and this would be a point at which, during a case, which this is, we are holding court right now, the King's Bench rests its case. This is the case. How it affects me? Under the law, it doesn't affect me. I'm at the highest authority. But, hey, these other guys, they have usurped authority. Who are these guys? How do you identify them? They must be too shadowy to identify. Who's doing this? We know what they're doing, but who are they? They're too shadowy. We can't identify them. Or it's just the system. Hold on. Or they say it's just the system. It's the system. It's the way it's set up. It's the natural human greed. It's the 7 deadly sins incarnated in government. It's all these things. Who's doing it? We've identified them and convicted them by name and rank. Donald Trump. Who handles him? Felix Sater, Tevfik Arif. Who handles them? Oleg Deripaska. Who handles them? The Rothschilds. There you go. And you wrap that all up, and you got, I don't know, 15 or 20 million out of the billions of people on the planet. So when you talk about fractions and start talking about billions and quadrillions and millions, you got it all wrapped up. It's them that's doing it. Why are they doing it? Am I such a genius that I'm just the one that figured all this stuff out? No. The enemy themselves, they're parroting these same lines. They've created.
I'm glad you said that. I wanted then, when you're done, I want to segue into a quote of Marx I was trying to find, but found a paraphrase. I want to get into some synchronicity there.
Okay, we'll get into the synchronicity, but these individuals are convicted. Felix Sater, Simeon Mikhailovich, Nathaniel Rothschild, Oleg Deripaska, Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, like everybody, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, everybody associated, Michael Bolton, Michael
Obama.
Bolton, Barack Obama. I said Michael Bolton. John Bolton.
Let's get to some bigger names. Michael Chertoff.
Yeah.
Zelikow. Let's get into some big.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna be for the name and name.
Yeah. Silverstein, the Greenberg family, Michael Bloomberg. George Soros. Yeah, the Rothschilds. All of them. So they're convicted. We know who they are. We know who they are. You know, and here in Virginia, you know, Ralph Northam, you know, the Moran brothers, who are like, really, look them up. If you don't know about the gun grab and the Moran brothers and this guy Brian Moran, who's head of the Homeland Security Department, Jason Kessler, like, this guy is like, but like, it's millions. It's millions, so we don't want to go through all of them, but you can see where their payroll comes from. They're going to even put out some of the same information. I started seeing that Virginia Dare is now, they're alleging that is a dog whistle for white supremacy, just like this one is. Just like that is. Which, you know, to me means like, you know, I want to do some other things just to like, you know, get that one out. I don't have any problem doing this one. This is really one, but that 666 thing, they say like that's a white supremacy thing. Like, I mean, now they're saying Virginia Dare. I saw that on Rachel Maddow. I watch her show because like I get some good information off that sometimes. But that just proves the point. They say Virginia Dare. I'm like, Virginia Dare, like that's the first English-born, you know, baby in like what became the Lost Colony. Yeah, Virginia Dare. They got a bunch of stuff, you know, Dare County, North Carolina. There's a whole county in North Carolina named after Virginia Dare. So what? That's a white supremacist now? Okay, if you say so. I can't keep up with this stuff. But yeah, those ones who are conflating that or using that for that purpose, they're government agents. So this is all you need to know. You don't need to really know anymore. And our caller.
So I got one more thing I want to say.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it, Joe, or whatever your name is. But go for it. You made a good point. But just repeating what we're saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one more quick thing that's interesting. I'm sure you guys probably know about DARPA and all the stuff that they're doing. Government agency.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, DARPA. That's in the book too. Yeah.
And the founder of DARPA is Dwight D. Eisenhower, and he's the one who like.
Yeah. I know who the caller is now. All right, your name's not Joe. What's your real name, man?
My name's Joe.
Yeah, but what's your real name? Like, yeah, I mean, Joe. Everybody's Joe. I know. Like Joe Blow. But, like, what's your...
Well, I mean, that's
like,
on,
can you identify... What? Like, how about this? Why are you, like... Hey, yeah, we know, like, what's that information? Like, Dwight D. Eisenhower? Like, okay, I know this is, like, where the quote-unquote internet Nazis like to connect the real Holocaust to the Nazi stuff. Which is true, but like
he gave a speech about like watching out.
Yeah, for the military-industrial complex. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But like, for real, and thanks. Like some of your information, like you didn't end on a real like high note, but this is just a poll for us. Like, why are you afraid?
Stuff up very well.
Yeah, but hold on, Cliff, because I want to be fair, because like we're in a court of law, the highest court of law. why is it that you testify anonymously? Why are you afraid to identify yourself? Or why are you not identifying yourself?
Well, I'm only going to give you my first name. I'm not just going to give you all my
Right.
information.
No. I mean, I know what's happening when something's happening. I'm asking you why. Why are you afraid to identify yourself? Like, I'm Chris Dorsey, and everybody knows, who my, 14th great grandparents are. So, like, I can't hide who I am. So, like, I find this funny because you talk about DARPA, and so you're only hiding your identity away from everybody else but government agents. So the government knows who you are and why you're saying this. So why are you hiding your identity to us, the legitimate authority, the body of the people, when you're not hiding anything you're doing to DARPA? That's the question. I know what was happening.
Well, I mean, the government has all files on us since birth.
Right. Well, yeah, but that has nothing to do with why you are hiding your identity from us. So that's another reason. So I'm just asking you that simple question. Why are you hiding your identity from everyone else except for us? We the people.
That's my real name, though.
What? So, I mean, how many millions of Joes are there in Ohio? Yeah, okay, great. So what? So, like, you can't be identified by just the name Joe and the state Ohio, which you may or may not be in, calling from, born in, from, living in now, moving tomorrow. The point is, like, how many times are you going to, like, dodge the question? Like, you seem to be rational. You seem to, like, sandbag until you're forced to say something. So you're smart enough in a lot of ways to do a lot of things, and you're smart enough not to give, like, a straight answer to a question that's, like, now it's like you're becoming dumb for not answering this question. Because, like, I said,
I mean, honestly, I just called you because basically...
Right, but I'm not asking why you called me. I'm asking why are you afraid? No, why are you afraid to identify yourself when you're calling something like this? Do you just not care enough about the subject? You obviously care enough to find this obscure show. Yeah.
Hey, man, I was just trying to call in to talk about our government and its corruption, that's all.
Okay, right, and I'm just asking you why you're afraid to identify yourself in that process.
I thought my first name would be enough. I mean, we're just...
Right, well, yeah, but you can't be identified by that. So, like I said, like, I identify myself with what I stand behind. So, like, you're not interested in standing behind your statements, so you can say anything and use any voice or any name, and it doesn't really matter. And that's fine, but I'm asking you, why is that the case? And so I've asked you that, is it at least a dozen times now, and you've never come close to answering, but you're smart enough to be able to at least regurgitate what is an obvious prima facie fact and the basis of everything that we do on this show. So you're smart enough to do that, but...
Joe, as you can surmise, you don't have to answer, but if you refuse to answer, you are thus illegitimate, despite the fact you said some at least one very poignant point.
Right. That's it.
All right, then.
Right. And also, that's kind of off the point. Whoa. Now, and that we use parliamentary rules of procedure here. Now, this is King's Bench. But that's beside the point. The point is, you are refusing to answer this, and therefore I'm asking why. You don't have to, but, like, this is the last time I'm going to ask you. Why are you afraid, knowing that you've already been identified by the government, who you may or may not work for whatever reason? And if you believe these things, Why is it that somebody would say the things and believe them and be afraid to stand behind those words? That's the last time I'll ask you, and then we'll hang up. So you have the chance to answer now, and if not, then thank you for calling. Go ahead. You have the floor.
All right. I answer to no man. I only answer to God.
So why didn't you say that from the beginning?
I couldn't think of it.
You couldn't think of it. Why is that funny to you now?
Honestly, the first time I've ever called into a radio show.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, but that's I guess that is the answer that.
Are we that good? Real quick, Chris, because this is important. Are we really that good? Because
Are we really? Yeah.
I've known of at least 6 people over the years that told us this is the first radio show we've ever called in.
Right.
I mean, what are we, magnets for beginners?
Yeah. So this guy is obviously he doesn't.
I've been researching for 20 years. It's a good amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm not that old.
You're not that old, huh?
But I mean, I just see the system being built.
I recognize your voice. I recognize your voice, so I know that you're lying about some of the things that you're saying.
Okay, so Joe, did you say you've been studying the New World Order for 20 years? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he's not that old.
So it's probably like 12 years
Calling into radio shows for 20 years? I confronted 9/11 terrorists within 3.
Yeah.
But what are you doing, Joe?
Yeah. What are you doing?
I was in 9th grade when 9/11 happened. I wasn't going to be able to drive out to
Yeah, I was younger
Yeah.
than you, dude.
Yeah. This guy.
Younger than you, dude.
So.
Hey, I'm not in it for points or anything. Good for you.
Well, it's not about points, it's about getting the job done.
And you lied. You lied because you are answering everything else but what your name is. So you're answering everything that this man who has standing over you. You've demonstrated that. And then the one thing that you wish to conceal, the only thing that matters that you can, that one can stake their claim on, you don't do that. See, you got, the everyone is subject to the English common law here. Or to put it another way, everyone here, let me find the exact quote. Yeah, you're a funny guy, Joe. Let's see. All the inhabitants are entitled to the English common law of England. So all inhabitants are entitled. So that's basically your title.
So does that go back to the Magna Carta?
Does it go back to the Magna Carta? Of course it goes back to the Magna Carta. English common, well, you tell me, but you're answering to me. You have answered to me. So the answer has been given. You're answering everything except for the way to stake one's claim under the English common law. You have to be identified. Habeas corpus. Present the body. Identify yourself. And you've done everything but that. So the only way that one can make that claim, that's a claim of English common law. Only a certain select few under the English common law can stake that claim, and they have to state their name. And not only do they have to state their name, they have to state the name of their ancestors. So I think you're way in over your head, and each time you start to try to weasel your way out of it, you dig yourself a deeper hole.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't know that I needed to identify myself.
But hold on a second, man, because you're learning things all wrong here. If you really are, just learning and ignorant of these facts, you're not listening to what's leading up to them, because we explain to you, yeah, you can not identify yourself, but what you say doesn't mean anything. I mean, what does every freaking, 12-year-old who makes a prank phone call do? He's like, hey, this is Sam. I'm calling from inside your refrigerator. It's not running, or whatever. The guy's name might be Sam, but it doesn't matter. The random person he's calling is not going to know how to go, oh, that's Sam. That's Sam. I know that. That's Sam. I mean, give me a break.
Very true. I mean, I just wanted to talk about money, really.
Okay, well, okay, you didn't talk about well, I guess you talked about the billions of dollars, and then we said, yeah, well, you think the billions matter, but it's actually quadrillions that matter. So that's enough. They could build nothing but battleships from now for another 1,000 years, building no other product but battleships, and the money that is in circulation right now would pay for all of them. And if there was no space on Earth for anything else but battleships. No. Hold on. Whoa. No. That's not how this goes. You can address the court now, since we've had to get stern and chastise. You can address the court. You can address King's Bench. Yeah, address King's Bench. Go ahead. Go for it.
Can men live in a system with money without being corrupted? It seems like we have to reject all currency.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Because here's where... all right. When I start speaking, that means I, as the head of the meeting, head of this court, that means you stop. But you're leading, and it's incorrect. It's not the money that's the problem. The money is the simulation of the natural freedom of all men that is given to us by God. The mono I. All of our perception of God, our bridge to God, it comes from the mono I, the God gland, the pineal gland, the third eye. That's all the same thing. And so, quote unquote, money is a simulation of all those things. Hey, to live you need food and water. Okay, you need that. God provides food and water. Okay, yeah, that's true. But now we're going to give you the simulation, which is money. But even knowing that, yes, knowing that for the love of money is the root of all evil. They didn't say money was the root of all evil, but for the love of money is the root of all evil. And the easiest way to remedy that situation is to properly value what money is. And the only thing that it says in the Bible that is the most supreme crime is usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of all things. So, well, this is the knowledge of the King's Bench. This is not just something that research is going to get one. One only has this through their blood. So, that's it. That's the only way one will be able to figure all of these things out. It's given to us as a gift by God. And the mono I is what is attempted to be simulated through the usury of money. The usury, not just the simulation of the mono I, but the usurious simulation of the mono I. So when they say, hey, they're just the money supply is just created out of thin air, and then they charge you interest on that. They go, oh, it's just interest though, because like that's how money works. What is that? That is usury. So the basis of everything that this society does comes in conflict with the word of God. And if somebody wants to argue and say, hey, that's not the word of God actually. Well, according to the law, it is. According to our common law, it is. According to our ancestors, it is. So according to this law that calls itself the United States Constitution, or the Virginia Constitution, or the Maryland Declaration of Rights, or the Pennsylvania Declaration of Rights, et al., etc., 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 that's what the word of God is. Because all offices of government are ecclesiastical offices. And so they can try to switch everything up all they want and come at us from this angle or that angle, but those are the essential aspects and elements. It is our relationship with God, and that in fact the basis of this system, which has been usurped by the synagogue of Satan, they are taking what the law is and they are twisting it and inverting it, which is what the devil always does. What does the devil mean? What do demons mean? It means the adversary of God. What does that mean? It means the adversary of the natural order. So instead of us going like, oh, okay, yeah, God gave us water, let's go down to the river and drink some clean water. Then they go like, nah, but that water's dirty, because remember these guys made all this money off of milling on the river. Well, now we got to collectively pay to clean it up. Yeah, sorry. And so like you need money, and like we got to tax you for that. And like go like, oh, okay, well that's all right. I'll just go back to my yard and grow my vegetables that God gave me the seeds for. No. You got to go to a store, and you got to buy seeds with money, because like you don't just get to pass seeds along anyway. And the best of the seeds, man, we got them in some sort of Arctic vault, so you can't even have those. Sorry, that's for good Earth when we get rid of all you and then wipe you off and then take the seeds from the seed vault and restart over with more land. I mean, we got it all figured out. I'm just explaining to you what it is on King's Bench here. So, yeah, hey, thanks for calling. Thanks for calling, Joe. It's just me and Cliff out here on, yeah, thanks for testifying. So, there we go. Hey, I appreciate that. That was the most fun I've had, yeah, you're dismissed. Yeah, case dismissed. But this will be a part of the public record. Case dismissed, Joe. Joe. Joe the yeoman from Ohio, dismissed.
From Ohio.
Yeah. Joe of Ohio, yeoman laborer, dismissed. Okay, so that was pretty much it, right? We pretty much covered everything in our King's Bench decision, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we got about 12 minutes to go. Might as well close out good. And I do thank Joe. I'm with you, Cliff. I feel the same way, but he did in some ways act within honor, but again, he had absolutely no standing. Right.
After you gave him a chance, he like eventually
Well,
started doing better, but then he got back out of shape.
I really wish to use like the proper, or what I believe to be the proper legal terms, but he had no standing, because like you can say anything you want and do anything you want, but like you have to do it with not only acting in an honorable way, meaning without deceit. That's the only way to act honorably, is without deceit. And then you have to identify yourself. You have to properly stake your claim. So that's what I wanted to get out about that, Cliff, is like, yeah, you're right. He started kind of acting all right. But again, what's the word act mean? He starts like acting all right, but that's the minimum. You have to stake your claim, and you have to identify yourself, and then you have to act right after doing that. But staking your claim and identifying oneself is like the basis of the English common law. Habeas corpus. You got to present the body. It all makes sense. It only doesn't make sense when they try to like look at all things the wrong way. But also, that's another point, Cliff. This guy, you know, if he was at all legitimate, and if he is to be believed at all, he believed he had a good opinion, but he had everything twisted around. Even when he identified the problem as being inversion.
Yep.
So, like, I know that certain times I have a, you know, and I can't take credit for the. I can't take any credit. That's my point of all of this. It's not like, how do we begin the show? Words, written down, me speaking them out loud. They came from inside what most people would think is like a aging, unattractive noggin. It came out of this noggin right here, all this. And so since some folks say bad things about the way I look, I go like, well, okay, that's fine. You know, hey, I'm not the People magazine's sexiest man alive. That's fine. But it's what I say. So that's what matters. That's what matters. And so then I say it. And then we get some deception and saying like, oh, hey, this stuff is real easy. It's like, yeah. But then we get to the point where it's like, hey, nothing really matters. What they want is they want you to be able to take away your political force. Your right to go and say like, hey, we're not going to be able to take on the U.S. military, but hey, we got these guns, and like, you know, hey, you're pushing us to a certain point, and you know, it's our right to say that we're angry and lawfully carry a gun. I've been doing it for a long time, Cliff, many years, and I don't do it just like whenever I feel like it, you know, about every little thing, you know, like, you know, the government dug a ditch in my front yard, or you know, them cutting the power off for some other purpose, or at my work, or something like that. It's got to be something big. It's got to be something substantial. Because, like, you just can't go around going like, well, you know, this is the law, and it must be enforced by lethal force. There's only certain things, like taking away your right to speak, or targeting you for your religious beliefs, which is everything that we're doing here. These are religious beliefs, and it's not just my religious belief. It's the religious belief of anyone who can legitimately call themselves an American, a European, and it's lies inside the law at such a level where you can't have any sort of functioning proper society with a group of individuals with the same blood that flows through my veins, which is a majority of the American population, and the population of England, and the population of Ireland and Scotland and Germany. and certain parts of South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. You can't have people like me on the earth and not abide by our sacred common law, which cannot be manipulated or taken away through anything else but lies, deception, and anonymous dishonor by a wide swath of the population. In other words, yeah, a lot of the folks we can identify, but the real culprits are behind the scenes, like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and they are not, that George Soros and Bloomberg are at a low level compared to these jokers. So, yeah, present the body, not the straw man account. I mean, you can say it any way you want, and these guys are not, I see a lot of guys on the internet, but they can't be real. They can't actually hold a court of king's bench. They can't do it legitimately. There's only one person on the planet that can do it legitimately, and and this court has a low view count, but the view count's enough. So we've already said this stuff on international television years ago. Last year even. We said all this stuff years ago, and now it's coming to pass. So it doesn't matter, which way the law is not enforced. There's only one way to enforce the law, and there's millions of ways to violate the one law, our sacred common law. So it doesn't matter which way the common law is violated. We stand by the law, and we stand by our birthright, and we stand by our honor, and we have no other way to stand by anything. And the only way we stand by those things is through God's grace. So we can't do anything. I'm not worried about, what this government that's already abolished says. We've already established that it doesn't matter whether I'm the overseer and grand master of all the of the Supreme Occasional Lodge of Freemasonry. It doesn't matter if I'm the only one that can lawfully carry out the Court of King's Bench. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. Because, I could be just any other man on the face of the planet, and what the government is doing, what this organized crime syndicate, I should say, posing as a government is doing, it doesn't matter. It's all illegal from that point forward, and I oppose it with every fiber of my being. And the rest is in God's hands. This is the legitimate authority. This is the legitimate court of the high court of the land, and all other courts cease to exist in anything other than a role as an imposter court with no legitimate authority, acting in complete dishonor against every reason, excuse, and purpose for a court to exist. All right, Cliff, any closing thoughts?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Join or die as always. Because, once again, the government is abolished. All that's left is for the people to reclaim their rightful authority.
Well, that's what...
Their right
90 seconds.
Leave the power.
Right, I'd say that's what's happening now. The government is already abolished. We have a court here. We have the highest authority. The highest authority doesn't come from something outside of us. It comes from something inside of us. And the outside, or money, or mono I, is the simulation of the real thing that exists in all of us. So I'm gonna, close it there. As we always say, D at Mondrot, and peace and God bless. I'm gonna see how to get back on the DARPANET apparatus and how they blocked us out or censored us. But in any event, it doesn't matter. We got the information out there. We had a bunch of callers, so if everyone's confused about how to find us, not everybody is. So thanks for joining us on King's Bench. We'll be back next week.
10 seconds.
Thanks to David. Thanks to Clifford. Peace and God bless.